I go into a cafe, sit down, look at the menu. Then suddenly from the next table a man of about 50, hairy with clear bags, clothes, invited me to join. I'm not reacting. After a while, an order is brought to me. Bon appetit, beautiful. It's coming from the same man. Again, I'm not paying attention. If you are afraid to communicate with me, I will give you money. You're so beautiful. That's what struck me at all. Am I a Muscovite? I'm sitting there laughing, and he says he wants me to work in his store. He, you see, and wife, and daughter. Everything would be fine. And now KMP, I'm a guy. On May 8th, we drank, fell asleep where we had to. In the morning we planned to go to the parade. These Turks, my friends, while I was sleeping with a marker, fucked up my mustache under my nose. Like Adolf. In the morning we jumped up at 9 and went to the parade. I'm standing there, and flowers are in my hands. And they say, Dari, I run up to the veteran, I hand him flowers. And he's banging me with his crutch. There's laughter and buzz everywhere. I was blown away. They gave me a mirror. Campbell porridge. I'm ready to tear my head off. I cook myself a Herculean porridge with milk in the morning. I look, some garbage is floating. I think, probably, the grain was threshed badly. It's probably the muesli skins. I look closely, but it's all alive. Insects in my porridge. In a panic, I open the closet where the box was, and there's just a horde of these little red-haired beasts. And they are everywhere, in flour, in cereals, in a started pack of spaghetti. And I also have a strange disorder. I, at the sight of any small insects, start to get nervous and itching everywhere. As a result, I threw away a month's supply of grub. I washed the whole cabinet with vinegar, everything stinks. And I'm sitting, scratching for the second day. My height is exactly 200 centimeters. I am, as they say, a tower. The girl I'm dating now is a little shorter than me. I don't know exactly her height, maybe 1.90 m, 1.95 m or so. I jokingly, affectionately teased. I wanted to, under the influence of the moment, called her sorry. My 2 meters of happiness. And well, I did not expect that she would push me away and cry. It turns out that since childhood she has been above all her peers. She was terribly abused. They have developed some ridiculous complexes. She even visited a psychologist because of this. But how was I supposed to know? She was almost hysterical. I don't know what it was. Some kind of defensive reaction, apparently. I don't understand any psychological issues. Calmed down. He's been sulking and sulking for several days now. When I try to talk to her, asking why I didn't find someone smaller for myself. I am 24 years old. I am a girl. I live with a guy for a year. He plays Warcraft. There is no cupcake, no proper attention either. And when he went to the toilet, I deleted all of his characters. And now I go to the KMP with a broken nose and a split lip. The animal woke up at night from a roar, almost sat up from fear, but then listened. It seems everything is quiet, and I thought that this cat dropped something. And in the morning, leaving the apartment, I saw an axe stuck in the door. KMP, I'm scared. Yesterday, my beloved said that he was completely satisfied with our relationship, but with the exception of the cupcake. Turns out he doesn't like it. Because there are many other more interesting activities around, for example, work. He does not want to waste extra time and effort. Because it's faster to strangle a boa constrictor himself. At the same time, he says that he loves me, but his wishes are more important to him than mine. The maximum that was offered to me was once every 6 months. Time to satisfy his desires on the side, for example, with his best friend. Our anniversary with the guy was approaching. I decided to please him and make a mohawk on a shovel. She began to make his favorite green color at home herself. I bleached my hair there, shaved it, just stripes. I left my hair, but I couldn't find a green hair dye, and used a simple green one. As a result, I poured almost the entire bottle on my chest, stomach and below. I decided then to arrange a cupcake in the dark so that I wouldn't notice. But no, he groped and Rekezik wanted to see him in person. I started turning on the light. I was scared, and like a caterpillar, I wrapped myself in a blanket. And while she was wrapped up, she fell out of bed. Now I'm green, with a broken arm, a broken nose, and without a tooth. I'm lying in the hospital with a concussion. The guy laughs and drags me kiwi, cucumbers, dill. It's also a green one. I recently saved up for a camera, which I have been dreaming about for quite a long time. It cost 10,000. For me, a lot of money, because I'm only 13 years old. Today, so happy called the store, ordered it with home delivery. 100 rubles were not enough for delivery. I had to borrow from a friend because my mother didn't give me a penny. I went to the store. When I came back and was going to get the money, count it and cook it, I found that there was no money. It turned out that mom found my stash, hid it and now doesn't want to give it back. Like, why do you need this camera? Or do I tell you? We'll pay you back later. There is plenty of money in the family. I earned them myself, earning a hack in the summer instead of going out with friends. Yesterday, a good man, a wonderful professional in his field, the head of the surgical department in one of the hospitals, died suddenly. Hospitals of our city. I'm very sorry, I'm going to the memorial service tomorrow. But in the depths of my soul, the thought is sharpening like a worm. I'm very sorry, I'm going to the memorial service tomorrow. But in the depths of my soul, the thought is sharpening like a worm. So, now a new person will be appointed in his place, and there will be an extra workplace, which in the future can take me. I hate myself as a cynical monster for this. My parents have 3 apartments, and we love to put in any free don't want to. Like, if you want to live, pay. And they offer to rent a room from them at the price of an apartment. And there are 17 years. I work, I give them money. They don't work. And here is such gratitude. It's a shame to tears. After all, native people. The first one. I love you. The long-awaited. Marry me. Sad, we have to break up. My boyfriend informed me via sums. Yesterday on the 1st. At the dacha, like a pig, he took his son, and got drunk behind the wheel. The result lost control, turned over. My son was not injured in the hospital. Today, my wife went to file for divorce. I'm in the hospital with my baby. I've been waiting for her out of the bathroom for an hour to get laid, and so she goes out and past me. I'm immediately taken to the computer and runs vampires on Odnoklasniki. I only blood collected. Kick-ass, stupid, damn it. Everything fell to hell. KMP, or I'll go get drunk before going to bed. We were going to get married. Yesterday, I wanted to send him a letter to the soap from his computer with an attached file. While looking for the file, I came across the album with all the naked ex-girlfriends. Even the meetings are arranged in order of time. I hate it. I love my girlfriend, but I am very infuriated by her legs and hairy hands. I don't understand why it's impossible to do hair removal or anything else. About the legs is a separate story. She constantly tells me that she wants to lose weight and exercise. I tell her to go for a run. And she's not me rooted to the couch, I'm a lazy ass. And it also kills me when we meet in the center somewhere. She comes in some damn pajamas and a sweatshirt, as if she escaped from the mental hospital. I do not know what to do with it. I want a normal girl, and I love my own. When I was an aggressive teenager of 12 years old, I decided to cringe in front of my classmates. Not thinking of anything better, I told the story of how, having quarreled with my older brother, I laid a pile of revenge on him, right on the pillow next to him. Of course, it wasn't true, but now you can't explain it to anyone. Now I am 16 years old, and everyone still remembers this case, and therefore, I have no friends, and cannot be. I'm a girl, I'm 26 years old. I am madly in love with Cupcake, so that it sometimes overshadows the mind, the ability to think, and to adequately assess the situation. I had more than 100 partners. More precisely, the number and all the people. I won't even be able to remember a lot of problems because of all this. I can't find a boyfriend, because anyone will immediately run away after learning about my past. I am 13 years old, and I always used to clean the history of visiting sites after I climbed on the internet. But I haven't done this for 6 months, and a week ago, I decided to see what my parents are doing at the computer. As it turned out, my dad climbs into various dating sites and flirts with women. I'm disgusted. I can't ask, I'm afraid. If mom finds out, goodbye, father. I am 25 years old, and I have 9 years seriously engaged in boating. I'm a girl, I look like a gladiator. I don't want to quit my favorite sport, but that's it. All this time, I was worried about my appearance. Friends kind of comforted. Every evening we walk around the neighborhood with them. I recently read the correspondence of 2 friends. They are discussing how we will go for a walk on the weekend in the enemy. Girlfriend N, yes, well, it's scary in enemies. Friend M, yes, what are you? We're going to call Tanya with us. She always scares us Gopnik away. Tanya, it's me. All this time, they needed me only to scare off bullies with my appearance. For almost 2 years, I have been working in the north. I don't even work, but I plow at a diamond mining enterprise. I earn well, I send about half of it to my parents every month. Although they have been hating and reproaching me all my life. But my younger sister is just adored. She decided to get married at the age of 19. A day in my life was not working and expelled from the university. My mother turned to me for financial help. I sent 120,000, they demanded more. I said I couldn't give any more, I had to live on something myself. Then mom said, "You should have torn off your head in the maternity hospital, you damned hypocrite. We've been dating a guy for almost 2 years. We are madly in love with each other, but I still lie to him that I am 2 years older than her. The real difference with him is 6 years. When we met, I lied right away, afraid to scare him off. Then I was afraid and ashamed to confess. The primitive story got into an accident with a Bentley, a well-known Moscow businessman. My car was almost not damaged. His whole hood is in a mess. Because of me, he also flew into the barrier on the Macad. This asshole said that either I pay for repairs for a supernatural amount, I don't have enough money, even if I sell my apartment in fur, or I spend one night with him, and he does whatever he wants with me. I have poor parents, and of course, there is no money to repair his car. I won't survive the shame. Relax at the cottage." Friends renamed the contact in mobile at night. Under the name of my girlfriend was the number of Sergei Pavlovich, my math tutor. In the morning, I call her and automatically say, "Hey boo. Today as usual, the KMP. I have a class tomorrow." How the fuck could you make such a typo, and instead of my treasure, write to my beloved girl, my cow? Shoot me please, Kosorukova. I already seem to have been abandoned. And I started smoking in the first year of university, because no one from the group wanted to be friends with me. And I decided that at least I would be able to communicate with everyone in the smoking room, as I was an outcast, so it remains, and I can't quit smoking for 8 years. With me today is not my boyfriend tried to get to know second time. And before that, it was Def. I feel like a disgusting person. But I can't take on such responsibility, and I don't want to. Preface, I have a problem. I'm very hairy. Legs, arms, there's a lot of hair, and they're black. I constantly make hair removal, all previously having grown to the desired length. And now I was in the stage of regrowth, and tomorrow I had to go to the salon. There is a guy who likes scary. Our relationship began to grow into a serious one, and I gave him the keys to my apartment so that he would come tomorrow evening. And here's the story itself. The evening I wash, the door, of course, is not closed. And then he decided to surprise her. He came to my shower, and I didn't even have anything to cover myself with, only the most important thing I tried to close. And he saw everything. His jaw dropped in surprise. He mumbled an apology and left. He doesn't pick up the phone. Shoot me, please. I won't survive this disgrace. I am from St. Petersburg and have relatives in Tatarstan. So I was there about a year and a half ago and accidentally slept with my cousin. Now I have come again and found out that I am a father. Why hadn't she spoken before? My parents died 7 years ago. I stayed with my older brother, whom I doted on. He dropped out of university, got a dangerous but highly paid job to support me. We loved each other and lived in perfect harmony. When I got knocked up by a scoundrel, it was my brother who helped me. And now I have my 3-year-old angel. Happiness ended a year ago when my brother became disabled. Now I had to quit. I had to leave the academy and get a hard job. Pose 16-18 hours a day. It takes an hour to get there and back. At home, I cook the food that my brother and son will eat tomorrow afternoon and go to bed. On weekends, I sleep for 12-14 hours. I sleep off for a week. I don't have the strength for anything anymore. I read Kill Me Please to know that it can be even worse and not to lose heart. But lately it doesn't help. My brother hired our neighbor to carry vodka to him. He begins to get drunk. Completely changed. He became angry, yelling at the child. Shoot us all. I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm only 23. I have been suffering from psoriasis for 12 years. When I met my future husband, I hid for a long time that I was sick. When I first saw him without clothes, I recoiled. He sat for a long time, was silent, then turned around and said, "I don't care, you'll still be mine." For those minutes that he was silent, I thought my heart would jump out of my chest. How I hated myself for being like this. Now my husband is already used to it, even helps to be treated. Smears, scratches when I ask. But I still can't undress or wear something open. Whole body in plaques of psoriasis. The complex is unreal. The disease is incurable. I have already tried everything. A very good servant, if not an abnormal one. A whisper in the ear from a few meters away. Neighbors through the walls from all sides. A company that sits 100 meters from the house. Conversations on balconies. I'm not saying if someone puts tombstones in the house. So far, deaf headphones are saving. And stupidly drunkenness, so as not to wake up at night from every sneeze and snoring. Besides, lately the brain has started to move out. I hear the mouse clicking in the next room, but I don't hear the person who is talking to me. I am an adult woman. I am 42 years old. I was married, but I was disappointed in marriage. 6 months ago I got a boyfriend. That's the guy, he's 25. I was just flying in the clouds with him. Amazing closeness, tenderness, sincere conversations. 3 days ago, my smart, beautiful 23-year-old daughter decided to introduce me to her boyfriend. And who do you think he turned out to be? He gave absolutely no sign that we knew each other at all and behaved like an ideal groom. He hasn't called me the third day, and I told him to. I didn't say anything to her daughter. We decided to make love like in the film 9.5 weeks. I undressed, and he anointed me with strawberries and began to lick the pulp from the body. Everything was blissfully good. In the evening, he got diarrhea from unwashed berries. After a great evening, I brought her home. We are sitting in the car in the yard of her house. Near the entrance, we notice her freezing cat, letting him into the car. This cat jumped on my lap from the street and decided to mark the driver's door. We had a great walk. Shoot this tailed beast, please, and I'll do it myself. It all started with the purchase of a hamster. Since I was not trusted with this animal, they did not give me more than 5 seconds on my hands. But now I was left at home alone. I took a hamster and, having played enough, I heard the phone. She let him run around on the sofa, and she sat down to chat on the phone. And after I got up, I realized I crushed a hamster. But that's half the trouble. I decided to cover my tracks quickly. The hamster is not my sister. I went and bought the same one at the market, boy with a black stripe on the back to distinguish. The nurse didn't notice the substitution. Today he gave birth to 2 more. I'm expected to explain. I thought I got a good dad who thinks I'm smart, beautiful, and an exemplary daughter. But then we had a heart-to-heart conversation with him, and the topic of the clothes I dress in came up. As a result, it turns out that I am a collective farmer who has no taste for style, and the other girls are fashionistas beauties. My dad is ashamed to walk around the city with me. It's a shame to hear this from my beloved native dad. After the new year, my husband began to complain that his feet itched. He complained for a long time, and I kept asking him to go to a dermatologist. But he waved it off, it will pass by itself, and did not go. Last weekend, our 11-month-old daughter had a rash all over her body. We went to the dermatologist. An hour, but you could have gone to the doctor right away. The cat scratched, ran to treat with peroxide. She slipped on the slippery floor and fell on the step. Hit the head, split eyebrow and current. 4 stitches. I was asked to donate blood at a blood transfusion station. Passed. It turned out that I had hepatitis C. I'm 18. I live with my mother and grandmother. We rent an apartment. I have been working since I was 14. Money was saved up to a penny. Recently, I decided to buy a netbook for studying, and for the internet in general. Saved up for 2 months. I combine work and study. I work as a waiter in a night bar. I bought it on January 31st. Samsung was stolen on February 7th at a friend's house. I applied to the police. Okay, but you still need a netbook. 2 weeks later, I borrowed money up to the first salary. I bought a netbook. I came home, turned it on, and it turned off after 20 minutes. Overheated, broken. I'm 23, studied far from home. The guy was waiting at home. With a fool gave the go-ahead to the left. Changed, confessed, where, with whom, when. And now I'm tormenting this girl in a terrible way. She fought, called from the left numbers, insulted her, quarreled with everyone. I'm adequate. A wedding is coming up with a guy. And I can't forgive the bag that was with him. I know it's a sin. It's been 5 years. Camp me stupid brainless until I killed her. I live in a civil marriage. I am 26, my wife is 23, my daughter is 9 months old. We don't love each other. I live with them at her house, with her mother and grandmother. They have some kind of problem every day, a tragedy. Some of them are terribly ill, near death, and so on. An ambulance is called once a month. Any malaise is inflated to tragedy. If everyone is healthy after all, then just everyone is fighting among themselves. Say it used to live peacefully they're bored. I put up with all this just for the sake of the child. She must have a father. But my nerves are constantly on edge. There are no more forces to endure everyday tragedies. Recently, my mother told me a family secret that she had been hiding for 40 years. It turns out that I am not her daughter, but her niece. Mom and her older sister were raised by their grandparents, who were either old believers or some other strongly religious people. When Mom's sister got pregnant, her grandparents kicked her out of the house. She wandered around dorms and acquaintances. And when she gave birth, she gave me a lift to the church, and she took her own life. When her sister, that is, her aunt, whom I considered a mom all my life, turned 18, she took me out of the orphanage and adopted me. And all my life I thought and was ashamed of the fact that my parents were 15 years old when they gave birth to me, and I do not know who my father is. How to live with it now? I was walking home, as always, along a poorly lit street. I hear footsteps behind me. I didn't take it seriously. Suddenly someone from behind grabs my hand. It was my ex-classmate. I laughed. I thought I decided to scare like that. He used to do this a lot at school, but he still won't let go. Then he says he wants me right here and won't let go of my hand. It turned out that he had been following me for the last 6 days and was waiting for me to be alone. I was thinking of running away, and he started threatening me. He gradually began to unbutton my coat with his free hand. I panicked and hit him on the head with my bag with all my might. I had the opportunity to escape. I went to the police. They said they would find him. A message came in tonight. He said that he would be waiting for me and my boyfriend at the entrance. I look out the window. He's standing there and looking right at me. I still called the guy there. I'm afraid for him. I don't know what to do. We've been dating for almost 2 months. I'm sitting at home, reading a book, when suddenly a text message comes from him. Let's break up. And now I don't know what's worse. The fact that he wrote, let's part, or the fact that after 2 minutes sent, oh, that's not for you. I'm 21. More recently, live with my boyfriend and his parents. This morning I found a baby monitor turned on under the bed. KMP, or what? My friend, with whom we went through fire and water, very difficult times, a difficult time, made a copy of the keys to my apartment. Went to when I was, took 15 million of cash, left 1 million NC. Your mascot as brothers disappeared. KMP can't trust anyone anymore. The world collapsed. I found out that one of my friends really can't stand me. He says a lot of bad things behind his back. I decided not to make a conflict out of it. I wrote a post on Contact on my wall about the fact that they say, it's not good to do this, to be hypocritical and in general. And in the end I wrote. I dedicated this post to one particular person. If you read this post and realize that I know everything, just silently remove me from friends. I don't want a showdown. I don't want to denigrate you and swear. Let's just stop talking. The next morning I get in touch. This friend has left. And 7 more people left with her. Of these, 3 best friends, whom I considered friends. And from different companies, and they don't even know each other. Just silently left. Apparently, they took it personally, which means there was something for it. KMP, I don't seem to have any friends. I'm a drummer in a band. We had a very important performance planned. You can't miss it. And before that, I was pretty decently ill with some kind of cold. She gave absolutely everything to her head, even any rustling and the movement of my body. I finished the song with the last of my strength. There is quite a lot of meat in the batch. It was necessary to knock well, from the heart, with a carton. In general, my head ached and tore terribly for 3 days in a row after the performance. I went to the doctor. As a result, my hearing deteriorated. Not forbidden to study music. They said if it hadn't been knocking then, everything would have been fine. The nerve cells couldn't stand it. KMP music is my whole life. We were lying with a girl, reading stories at the KMP. And after another story about a scoundrel of a husband, who abandoned his wife and children, it's hysterical. Starika jumps up, giving me a slap in the face, and shouting, all you men are the same. She packs her things and goes to her mother. I'm lying, stunned on the couch, and trying to understand the female logic. Just came psychiatric team to my brother, who delirium tremens. Not taken under. Because it's still the initial stage. They said to contact me in 2-3 days, when it will be completely dangerous. I live with this man in the same apartment. I'm scared. I have obsessive-compulsive disorder. This is when delusional thoughts do not allow you to live. Arise from somewhere, and remove them only if you make a decision. Everything would be fine. Worries about unplugged kettles, irons, check 3 times whether the door is closed, Do not touch anyone. Wipe the appliances, drink and eat from your dishes. All this is nonsense compared to the fact that I can be in a company, sit in a restaurant, park at the university. I can have fun, but only up to the voice in my head. You won't find it. Panic immediately sets in. I go over in my head what I ate, what symptoms I have, and what I should do if I feel sick, dizzy, if there is poisoning. Where should I run to the toilet? This voice causes me to panic, to choke, to spoil, and to breathe. Another mood is to run home. And it's not going to be bad for me, no. Just a voice told me that it was possible, and panic added symptoms. I skip the institute. When I reach the entrance door, I turn home. I don't sleep at a friend's house. I don't sit in restaurants. I don't eat other people's food. I'm afraid of the subway. KMP, I want to believe, not be afraid. Today, my dad's lover was added to my friends in the social network. My photos with my brother and I've been watching her photos with my dad since March 8th. I am not a master of sports and not even a CMS. Just a person who chooses training. The hall has a little boxing, horizontal bars and bars. On the evening of March 8th, I met a classmate in the evening. He was with a good sober company that was heading to some pub for karaoke. They called me in order to dispel routine, work, home, training. I agreed to sit for a while. I felt sick of the picture I saw there. Without hesitation, I packed up, said goodbye, and left. A young lady, decorated in the best traditions of the boat, smoking one after another, and drinking a lot, accompanied by an older lady. Apparently, Mom was making befuddled eyes right and left. It would be all right, I have nothing against that. Such earnings. It's not for me to judge who gets the money how. But when she stood up, I saw the belly. Pregnant month, 4th or 5th. Today Dad saw a positive pregnancy test in the bathroom. And since he is infertile after surgery 2 years ago, he came up with a surprise to his mother. As a result, she yelled at me. They and Dad fucked me up and kicked me out of the house, saying they didn't need a juvenile boat. I'm sitting on a bench now, the phone is about to run out. There's nowhere to go, it's freezing outside. I'm 19 years old, I'm pretty cute, and I'm not a kisser. The KMP was perfectly celebrated on March 8th. I'm 22, I'm a girl, I live with a guy. Yesterday, I decided to cook him a pizza, make a surprise. Called, asked to buy mushrooms on the way home. I waited for him for 3 hours, couldn't stand it and called. It turns out that this man went to a friend pushing everything, including mushrooms. I have been playing Sport Lotto since childhood. Even from the army, I wrote numbers in letters to my parents so that they would cross them out and then report the results. Over the years, I have lost so much money that it would be enough for a couple of lotta. A year ago, going to the dacha, I went to a familiar Goslodo kiosk, took out of my pocket my 5 long-filled cards, which I always usually use, but issued only 3 of them, since there had been no pay for a long time. In the evening, at the dacha, I recognized the rolled out numbers 2, 6, 13, 19, 20. I remembered them for the rest of my life. If I had dropped those 2 cards, the 5.5 million prize would have been mine. Kissed a guy, bit his tongue. After that, a lump formed in his tongue. What the fuck, I don't know. This has never happened before. Now he is sure that he has a cancerous tumor in his tongue. He has already taken out my brain without a trace. Not even 5 minutes pass without him remembering his illness. He Googled it and is absolutely sure that he has cancer. I can't hear it anymore. KMP, otherwise I'm his. Hello everyone. I am 22 years old and studying in the 5th year of university. There was such a situation that in the 5th year I transferred to another university, but in the old one, I was mistakenly enrolled without documents and, of course, after a couple of months, they expelled me for not passing anything. This order was sent to the military enlistment office, and now they want to take me to the army. Although I paid tuition for the next 2 years, courses, an apartment for a year, it's either the prosecutor's office or breaking a leg. Shoot. Was the host, I ran out of cigarettes. I had to go to the store. I bought it, went back. I go into the entrance, the elevator does not work. I walk to the top floor, open the door, get naked, looking into the room. A man sleeps there for 50 years and freaks out. I don't catch up, what the fuck? I look at him for 5 seconds. I leave the apartment, go down. Turns out I got the house mixed up. Ilk. I didn't think people still sleep with the doors open. I have never put any of my photos on the internet. Only portraits for Ava in social networks. Well, I'm paranoid. I decided to print out my photos. I came to the shopping center near the metro. There's a kiosk there. I give them the flash drive and ask, do you have a fully automated printing process? The guy says, yes, we don't look at other people's photos. They printed it out, I'm glad. A year later, they send me a link. A classmate. My photos are in a selection on the site with jokes. And the selection is called Girls Who Expose Themselves as Boats. And there are my home photos where I'm not even naked, just standing there in a bathing suit, posing. My friend took pictures of me. In the comments to the photo, they explain how they are not ashamed to post such photos on the internet. I haven't posted them anywhere. A year has passed since then. If you search for my photos via Google, you can see that this selection is already on a bunch of sites. And even on adult websites. Having assembled a new computer for myself, I began to think about how to sell my old components with Avid. I got a call from a man who offered an exchange for a large monitor with my surcharge. I agreed, but on the condition that I exchange my old monitor plus my accessories. The exchange took place, however. I did not find a suitable power adapter in the box with the sealed one. It was separate. Having told the person everything I think about him, I agreed to give him this new monitor so that he would pick up the adapter. And he insisted on a pledge, which I agreed with. 2 days later, it turned out that as a result of his tests, almost all of my parts were burned, and his deposit was worthless. Now I'm sitting without anything, there is no monitor, my mother is screaming, calling that person, and threatening to file a police report. KMP is so gullible. I'm 21. A girl, I live in a small town. I work as a model, and have traveled all over the country. But I didn't have to sign major contracts. And then one day, a modeling agency in Moscow became interested in my activity. This meant that I will now be able to obtain a lot of money, and perhaps, to leave the country in a few years. I flew to their office with a portfolio and other necessary things. Have agreed to conclude a contract with me for 1 year, plus payment of my stay. They asked me to come to them again in a week, all ready with things, and ready to sign a contract. Everyone was happy at home, except my boyfriend. The fact is that he believes that in the modeling business, almost all models of boats that were sold for money. And here is the night before the plane departs early in the morning. He offers to have a little drink. He drugged me, but I didn't feel it. I woke up at 13 o'clock in his apartment. I don't remember anything. The doors are locked, lives on the 8th floor. There is no phone. He took it. Rushing around the apartment, roared. Night came the pseudo. He said, "But you won't become a boat. I am 15 years old, studying in the 8th grade. My studies are bad." I decided to move to another school. Friday was the last day, and I decided to celebrate it in school. I brought a bottle of strong drink. Well, at one break, I called my friends in the toilet. Everyone took 1 or 2 sips. I, of course, drank the most. In general, I was completely blown away. At one of the lessons, I asked to go to the nurse, but they wouldn't let me in. But the teacher noticed how bad I was, and she called her. I went out into the hallway and went to the toilet. Then I came to the medical office, and there I felt terribly ill. And lying in a blackout, they called resuscitation for me. The police were called, the mother came. I was dealt with by 3 teachers. Everyone who was with me wrote explanatory notes. Rumors spread around the school during a lesson. Now I'm lying in the narcology department. I was registered. The ilk had a great last day. When I was little, the whole family dreamed of leaving Russia for a permanent residence in Europe. It was my dream. Not so long ago, I graduated from university, went to study and work in Germany. My parents were happy for me, waiting for me to take them with me. They don't work, they live on a pension and my salary. Studied and worked in Germany. I was not going to Russia when financial difficulties began. I stopped sending money to my parents. I said I couldn't give them money for an apartment ticket and so on. And off she went. I'm ungrateful. I don't care about my parents. I betrayed my homeland. I became a bourgeois. They said that they were not their daughter. And so mom writes that dad died. You need to come to say goodbye. And I break down in the middle of studying and come. In fact, the father did not die. Parents just wanted time. They failed in Germany to go, so let me also live. All the money was taken away, the things were locked in the room. She ran away a day ago. I'm sitting at a friend's house penniless in a housecoat. I am an excellent student. I finished this year with a medal. Our family is not rich. There is no money for tutors and courses. And at the university where I plan to attend, the medal gives a very sensitive benefit. And here is the final test work in algebra. I'm sitting in my seat in front of the teacher's desk. The last task is very difficult. I start scribbling on the draft. A teacher's daughter approaches the teacher's table. Another candidate for a medal, but in the head of bread instead of a brain. And the teacher begins to dictate this task to her in a low voice. I squinted at them and continued. And then the math teacher glances at me at my notes and screams at the whole class. I didn't understand. Who gave you permission to listen to us? This girl is tired of smiling enough. The teacher snatched the draft and the work from me. In the next lesson, she returned with a grade of 2 for cheating. I went to the director. The math teacher said that I was cheating while she was explaining an incomprehensibly formulated task to another student. Another student confirmed this. The rest are simple. We just didn't see exactly what happened. KMP. Even if I write the next test perfectly, which is doubtful now, I will not see a medal. My crazy girlfriend is jealous of me to a new machine. She just sees her as a potential competitor. Recently, some punks in the yard left me a scratch all over the door. Guess who it was? Of course she is. Today, I punched all 4 wheels. Here I am going to the subway to work with a brand new BMW in the garage. I went to visit a friend with whom I haven't seen for a very long time, but not quite on time. Her boyfriend was already there, picking her up. A cold. Okay, it's okay. We sat, talked, and laughed. I see that I'm bothering the guys. I began to gather slowly. And I have such a childish character. If anything, I'll see it, grab it right away, and try it out. Well, I found a can of some kind of small, cute. With a fool, I sprinted over her bed. And it was Pepper, moreover, also powerful. Well, with a friend the window wide open, ran out into the corridor, coughing. No. Her boyfriend went there and, unsuspectingly, inhaled with all the might of his lungs. We didn't have time to warn you. He coughs, and I laugh. It's fun. I realized the seriousness only when he, with watery eyes, barely crawled to the window, almost suffocating. I'm 16 years old. They don't really talk to me at school. And somehow I was delighted when spoke to me, one of the most popular guys at my school. I've liked him for a long time, but he's so handsome, pumped up, a stylish guy, the soul of the company, and an ideal in general. And here he comes to me and says, "Do not cut the mustache the more." KMP. 19 years old. I live with my mom, study, work in a supermarket, lay out groceries. The work schedule is free. I bought a newly supported 9. And then it started. All relatives, even those whom I haven't seen for several years, have become ennobled. Take the groceries to the vet, to the doctor, pick up from the train station, from the guests, change, transport potatoes, furniture, books. My mother used to go to work from work as much as possible. Every weekend, I need to go somewhere urgently. Be sure to drive, be there at least 1.5 stops on foot. Recently, my mother called and said, "Take me from the market, urgently." Neither hello nor please. Freaked out, turned off the phone, and went to spend the night with a friend. It turned out that mom slipped, broke her leg, was sitting on the asphalt with 30 rubles in her pocket. And I couldn't even take a taxi to the hospital. And I only found out about it when I showed up at home 4 days later. As a child, I loved to cut out all of Barbie's hair, down to the plastic head. In the 5th grade, I cut off a girl's hair with skin. I went to a psychiatrist, but I continued to notice a terrible desire to cut my hair. I started hiding knives, forks, scissors, and gave the cat away so that I wouldn't do anything to him. I got a boyfriend, and I got a girlfriend. A month ago, a guy left me, traded me for a teepee. I called my friend, cried out, made an appointment. On the bus, I see how the girl refuses to pay for the fare. I pounced on her, pulled out a clump of hair. My friend and I were dropped off. She took me to her place, made tea, comforted me. And I grabbed, I don't even remember, either a fork or a knife. She pounced and cut off a piece of hair. She ran away and sobbed. I washed my hands in hysterics. Then she locked herself in her room. I haven't been out for a week, and so mom brought the box, said it was from a friend. And there's a wig, and a note. "I forgive you. Take this wig. When you want to talk, call me. I'm afraid to attack my friend again." KMP. They were called to the police yesterday. I witnessed a drunken prank by one of the cops. They threatened, they said, if I don't forget, then he will arrange a fun life. I noticed one of them put something in my pocket, didn't show it. When I went out, I went to the toilet and found a bag of white powder, threw it down the toilet. I was accepted on the street. They began to search me at the concept. When he found nothing, was released. Today, the cop I was with called and demanded to return the bag. Otherwise they would break my legs. A man was knocked down. I ran up to help. I tried to stop the blood, bandage my hand, well, at a minimum. And someone pulled an iPad and a smartphone out of the bag. What should I tell my parents? iPad for the successful end of the year, smartphone for the Olympics. I am 13, my younger brother is 8, and the very little one is 3 years old. Our mother said that all of the time lived only for us, gave us everything, and now she wants to live for himself, and we are tired. Since autumn, she no longer cooks, does not wash, does not clean, does nothing at all. She either lies on the couch and watches TV, or goes to beauty salons, or with friends. I have an artist, a guitar, dancing, and school. Dad can't, he's always working. I can't calm my brothers anymore when they cry and say that mom doesn't love them anymore. I cook somehow. I clean up as much as I can, I wash. They're putting me in the hospital soon. Stomach problems. I do not know what will happen to them. KMP, I love my mom. I came from uni yesterday. Bad day. At uni, deuces are molded like a river. I went into the apartment, I didn't find my dog. It's weird at all. The dog, a fat shepherd, really expensive, panicked. Thought about it, he suspected that the night might not close the door, and he ran away. But I don't remember what happened in the morning at all. For all mornings are the same. He didn't even remember seeing the dog. I even searched the cups at home. Ran all of what I saw. Ran away half the city. Everything and everyone. Nobody knows anything. I remembered that I forgot to close the apartment. I ran home, thinking maybe the dog was already at home. He came running. A TV was taken out of the house. A river of mats poured all over the house. And then my mom comes home to me. Son, I was walking my dog. I'm sorry I didn't warn you. I'm fucked up. Mom came home from vacation and came to me for a dog. Clever. Son, where's the TV? Stolen. Don't lie, propel. And a river of mats poured down on me. I stood with poker face and thought about, kill me please. I am 16 years old and I have a vertebral shift. I went to the doctor for an x-ray 2 months ago, and he scheduled me a repeat appointment in 1.5 to 2 months to do a second x-ray. Prescribed treatment. And what do you think? My mom is categorically against irradiating me. In general, now there is no x-ray, no treatment. And now, if I don't start treatment in time, I'll be skewed by the summer. KMP, my back hurts terribly. With friends I went to the Kirov supermarket with someone to give a chocolate bar, and away we go. Once, for no reason at all, a strange guy came up to us. One thing is strange, half of the city drags everything that lies crookedly. It is to us. Here he began to drive us what the boys don't need. Now the police are working at once. One button, and they are here. The fact that cameras are everywhere. We thought it was some kind of sign from above, and wanted to quit. But before that, we wanted to conduct our last raid in Alcan. That's where it happened. When we once again violated the law, we were detained, and everything happened exactly as that guy said. Thank you for not listening. I'm 16. Health problems began. I went to the doctor, who sent me to an endocrinologist, appointed to take hormones. Okay, I passed. On their money saved from school meals. I did an ultrasound and that's it. We found serious problems. We need money for treatment. Parents are convinced that the thyroid stuff will pass by itself. Doctors don't believe the internet too. I can't work, because school is up to 15 hours. Plus an additional KMP. I tore up the last mower that I had left for this month. There is no money even for scotch. And I also lost my passport, and I can't even change this mower in the bank. It all started with the birth of a son, born prematurely. I spent a month in the hospital, was sent home, after which I was diagnosed with tuberculosis. And now, having almost completed the entire course of treatment, another failure happens. I just left my son with my husband, and he didn't keep up. As a result, intracranial hematoma, surgery. I can't see my son because of my diagnosis, and plus there are proceedings with the police and guardianship authorities. Yesterday, I was transferred to neurology, and today I talked to a doctor, and I'm still crying. Because there is a possibility that my child will be defective. The CMC will not be able to pull the child out of this state. A few years ago, my sister, 3 years older than me, became an adept of a new psychocult. They teach them how to think positively, to do nothing. And the universe itself presented everything on a platter. She quit her job, sent 2 children to her mother. They prevent her from developing. The money that I saved for an apartment, I spent on trainings. I also had to borrow. There was not enough for the next step. I'm a guy, and the old-fashioned way I decided to give my girlfriend a surprise on March 8th. I bought a gift, flowers, decided to have a candlelit dinner. In general, I set the table in the kitchen, lit candles, went to meet the girl. In the future, everything worked out even very well. We had dinner, I gave her a gift, and we went into the bedroom. After about 10 minutes, both she and I caught the smell of smoke. The KMP burned down almost half of the hut, left candles in the most inappropriate place. I went abroad with my husband for a month. The main problem was where to attach a well-mannered cat. As a result, we agreed with a friend that she would live in my apartment in the city center. Gave me the car keys, called every day. Yesterday we returned, the whole apartment is covered in wool. The cat is sick. As I understood it, she came once a week, poured food and left. I'm crying over the poor cat, and I don't understand why this goat agreed to help. If she didn't care about the animal, I used to live stylishly. That is, there are good things and accessories, such as a straight razor, vintage equipment, a car in the same style, an apartment. I met the girl after 6 months of relationship and with her parents. Dad loved it. Imbued with my style. There was a lot in common. Taught him how to dress, how to shave with a straight razor. Helped with everything else. The girl can't get enough of relationships, but her mother thinks I'm gay. And what I'm trying to seduce her husband, to make him gay. KMP. Standing at the bus stop, girl, with long thin white cigarette in his mouth and pockets fumbles. I, like a true gentleman, gave her a lighter. The girl with round eyes looked at Olashenka for 3 seconds, who was trying to set fire to her stick from a Chupa Chups. I have very religious parents. No, not like that. They are very religious. There are a lot of icons at home, constant hints and conversations that it's time to go to church. But the point is different. Recently caught a cold, as a result, a complication came out. Went to the doctor to have made the cut. Now I go for bandages. I'm sitting now, reading. A mother approaches, holds out a photograph of some saint and says, "Take off the bandage, attach it better." I'm sitting in complete shock, I refuse. As a result, they start yelling. That how can you not believe in anything, that you need to treat blood, and doctors are generally bullshit. KMP, otherwise I will be beaten with crosses. We lived well with my husband for 8 years, and then it was necessary for his work to move to a big city. We moved, rented an apartment for a lot of money. However, I had to quit a well-paid job because of the move. Got a secondary job. Everything is fine, but my husband has a new job. New friends, and there were several gay men in this merry company. Okay, well, let them be. But 2 weeks ago, my husband kicked me out of the house and said that we were breaking up because he had turned 100% gay. He has nowhere to meet. He went to his mother and told her everything. And also to their relatives. Burned bridges. He humiliated me and made life unbearable so that I would move out sooner. KMP, I now have no husband, no housing and no job. I want to die. Dated a guy for 5 years. In recent years, the relations undersubsided. My guy was firm. Those people who need to be slowed down. You won't hear a compliment or words of love just like that. I, not deprived of imagination, but completely devoid of reason and trepidation on his part, decided to arouse pity in him, and said that I was terminally ill, expecting tears and immense care from him. The performance lasted 6 months, the guy didn't change, but he didn't quit. After 6 months, I find out that I am really sick, and I have a year left. Sought a girl for 2 years. She didn't reciprocate, although I tried my best. And so we gathered in a common company at the apartment, and drank a lot. She took me into a room, and said she didn't love me yet, but she was ready to try. She said that she had never met such purposeful guys. And perhaps we will succeed. I was overjoyed. I ran out to my friends in the kitchen, and told them the news. They were aware of this situation for a long time, and offered to drink to that, and to drink and drink. As a result, I woke up naked, and they told me that I was terribly drunk. I threw up several times, and in addition, I involuntarily defecated. Right on the bed when everyone went to bed. And washed me and all I dirtied it. I've never been so ashamed before. I sit and cry. I sat on the gum in algebra, ran home, changed my clothes. It's okay, like yes. But my hysterical mom said that there can't be gum at school, and that I was hanging out with someone in the entrance, and put it on. KMP, she hates me, it's been 3 years. I got married, and she keeps reminding me of it. I rent an apartment for a year on the 5th floor of a 5-story building. I work as an accountant. Do not drink, do not smoke. Only one friend comes to visit me sometimes. Granny lives downstairs for 84 years. To look cheerful. You can't even say that for so many years. Milla smiles intelligently. A hypocrite. At first, she was prevented from looking at the sky by my underwear hanging behind the balcony. She moved him with a stick. She left notes at the door, came to take it off. Neighbors were doing repairs next to her. The old frames were brought to the floor. She came running to me, sweetly saying that I was doing repairs. I knock at night, clog up the entrance, although he knows that the apartment is not mine. I called the landlady of the apartment. She said I was throwing garbage bags off the balcony. Neighbors came from the 1st floor. Someone urinated on top of their underwear. Grandma said she saw it was me. Turned off the gas emergency. She told a neighbor from the 3rd floor that she allegedly called. And she was told that she was disconnected because of me. Since the apartment is a studio, and there is no door to the kitchen, they came to fight with this drunken neighbor. Like, put the doors. I also said that I threw the old carpet lying around between floors, and her neighbor drove her, that I move furniture at night, and make noise. I'm sitting at work right now, and I don't know what to do. My boss constantly confuses me with my colleague. We are very similar in complexion with hair color. Now the lists of awards were announced. So, I have the lowest percentage. At first I didn't understand why I approached the boss to ask. He tells me, "You're late for work, you smoke endlessly, you don't work, but only drive teas. Leaving work early." My jaw almost dropped. First of all, I don't smoke. Secondly, I live 5 minutes from work. So I physically can't be late. I come 30 minutes before the working day. Lunch takes me about 15 minutes. We have a working day until 18:00, and I leave at 8:00. I started explaining it all to him, but he doesn't even want to listen. He says it's all a lie. I went up to the girl he was confusing me with. I say, "Come and explain to him what he's confusing." She says, "They say, why does she need it? What, is she sick or something?" I want to cry, I plow like a horse, and so they break off. Suffering from a taxi, the goat went to the subway. Pale, barely standing on her feet, huddled in a corner so that, if anything, she would lose the vessel. Not on the aisle. At the next station, a grandmother enters with a cart in her hands, and after a while, goes straight to me. Then came a very original suggestion, to step aside, because, you see, she has nowhere to put the cart. I quite politely suggest to move the men sitting opposite. That in response I get a very strong poke in the stomach, already losing consciousness from the unexpected pain and stuffiness. I manage to notice that the doors have opened, and I fall back. I lost my baby. One day I decided to look at which sites my mother is sitting on. I went to some obscure website and read my mother's correspondence. Some guy, so that he attacked me for educational purposes. KMP, I don't know how to live now if I know that sooner or later, I will be attacked at the request of my beloved mom. I got sick a few days ago, but I didn't immediately understand what happened. It was just very bad. I was sick, and my head hurt. I took time off from work, came home, threw up. And then I went to bed, slept until late at night. I woke up, my bones and teeth ache, my joints ache, my head is splitting, I still feel sick and sick. I lie wrapped in a blanket and dream of falling asleep again. But then the father comes and asks why I'm not at work. I asked what I was sick of. And I said I didn't know. I feel bad, everything hurts and makes me sick. And my father, after he heard this, broke off like a chain. Think before you give someone a boat. You're poking around everywhere. Someone rammed you. And this humiliation continued in, all evening. I am 23 years old. And in my whole life, I had one single man, with whom I had been separated for 6 months. And that day I had a temperature of 39.5. I caught the virus. It's disgusting to be with the father. I sold a washing machine drunkenly, which would have been another half a world. When I woke up in the morning, I found that the bed was literally floating. Water flowed from a more disconnected pipe all night. I live quite in a well-off family. I have always considered my parents to be normal people. Study well, never had 3s in a quarter, especially in a year. But I got 3 in history this quarter. I came home, my mom yelled at me, but it wasn't scary. I was afraid of Dad. And then, less than an hour after my arrival home, Mom says, "I won't tell my father if you give me a certain amount out of your pocket money. She needs it more, you know." I'm a girl, I'm 16 years old, and my best friend is already about 20. She leads a decent lifestyle, and I used to want to be like her. But recently she told about her friend. She was deprived of her parental rights, and my friend began to protect her. They say there was no bodily food in the house, but there was a lot of spiritual food. Beatnik readings, home performances. And in general, if something happened to the child, it's okay, since the mother painted several portraits of him. That will go down in history. KMP, I don't know what to think. Tired, I come in late at night from a part-time job, and suddenly I feel a violent pain between my buttocks. Quietly swearing, I felt what the fuck it was, and I didn't understand. I live in a dorm. On the way to the toilet, I met my friend, who I really like. I knew that her parents had given her an iPhone 5 for good studies, and I had already heard what was there. Excellent front-facing camera. Well, he asked me to give him a second, supposedly to call urgently. And he went to the toilet to look at what kind of miracle jumped out between my legs. I took a few pictures, but it took me a while to adjust the focus on the phone. I looked at it, I think, but I don't care. I gave the iPhone away. Even for conspiracy, he sent a call to a fictitious number. Went to bed. The next evening,